Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to do a video on my own physical strengths and weaknesses. And when I mean physical, I don't mean literally how much I can lift or how powerful I am. We're looking at it more from an aesthetic standpoint because, as you guys know, I'm in the sport of bikini competition, so performance is not really measured. Basically, it's just aesthetics, how you look, how you're proportioned, symmetry, tone, etc., etc. With that being said, I wanted to go over a few of my muscle groups that I need to work on personally and a few that I need to back off on. So let me explain this more into detail. For me personally, as a bikini competitor, I should have a nice hourglass figure, full glutes with a pretty similar upper body. Which brings me to my first weakness that I definitely need to work on is my shoulders. From some angles it looks good, but I'm kind of lacking that cap. I can get more of a cap, okay? And you don't need huge arms in bikini, you know, you're supposed to stay quite small, but I think it would be nice to have a little more separation between the shoulder and the arm. So if I could bring that up a little bit, I think that would make me a little more symmetrical. Next is my physique strengths. So I would say for me, my strengths are my hamstrings. My hamstrings pretty good. I don't have to do a whole lot for them to be popping. My glutes are pretty good as well. These aren't really glute flattering shorts, but they're good. I have some good glutes, I think. But in bikini, it's almost like you can never have too much. So in the glute department, so it's kind of like I always train it twice a week anyway. And another physique strength I think I have would be my abs, although they're not so popping, like they're not stage lean right now. And a lot of people might be surprised to know that I actually don't train abs. It's true for me, abs are made in the kitchen. I'll see more of my ab definition the leaner I get. I don't really train abs because for me, training abs would just make them blockier and I need to keep a very small, thin waist, okay? So keep the waist as small and tight as possible. And if I train my abs too much, they can come blocky. You might see more of like a blocky type ab. They might get a little thicker. Which is why I also wear a weight belt. If you guys notice in my videos, sometimes I will wear a weight belt, and that's to disengage my abs, okay? And it's important for me to disengage my abs because I'm already working, you know, abs when I'm doing other exercises a little bit. But if I can really keep them from flexing and doing their thing during exercises, that's gonna decrease the waistline to an extent. And, you know, genetics are another thing that plays big into this as well. The next strength I have is something you probably don't know about, is like my back. So I also don't train my back anymore. I think the last time I trained my back was like a year ago as part of a circuit, and it was probably about a good 2 or 3 years since I trained abs. So as my coach always says, once you have abs, you can stop training at that point and just maintain them, because in bikini you're supposed to be not overly muscular. But back to the back. This is the back. One reason why I don't train back is, well, you can't really see it in bikini because our hair is like this. You can't really see it. But it's already got some good definition to it. It's pretty thick. I have a thick back. And also I have longer lat insertion, which I will talk more about muscle insertions later on in this video, but I have low muscle insertions. And if I make my lats or back any bigger, I don't want it to be mistaken for my waist from this side angle. So if I can kind of just get rid of more of this, then that'd be even better. But yeah, that's my strengths and weaknesses as a bikini competitor. And again, I'm not talking physically, I'm talking aesthetically, okay? You guys might be very surprised to find out that at the top level in bikini, a lot of us kind of lay off from doing certain exercises or working certain muscle groups because they're already overly developed or already where they need to be. Because as I mentioned a few times before, in bikini, they don't want you overly muscular. You kind of have to fit the mold of a small, compact, tight, symmetrical body. And I know personally a few competitors that will never train arms because their arms are like overly developed already. They already have a cap when they're not even flexing. For me, it's the opposite. I need to hit these shoulders a few times a week, okay? Moving on to my training split, I kind of wanted to discuss with you guys a little more into detail what my training split is. Now, this is gonna change the closer I get to a show, or if I'm off season, or if I see that there is a muscle group I need to start bringing up more because I was neglecting it and now it got too small. And for me right now, I'm training legs and glutes about twice a week. Not that I'm lacking in that area, it's just, like I mentioned, one of those things in bikini, it's very important to have full glutes, so I gotta make sure they stay nice and full. I'm training shoulders twice a week, heavy, because I want these things to grow. I need to grow my shoulders a little bit. And I'll train arms once a week because arms really aren't that important in bikini. And when I say arms, I'm talking about bis and tris. I mean, they're okay. They're basically where they need to be, so they're just maintaining. As far as cardio is concerned, I do about 4 days of cardio a week, okay? And during this cardio session, I'm, without trying, working my calves. Without trying, I'm working my quads when I'm doing things like the step mill or Santa Monica stairs or even running. So with that being said, that's another muscle I don't train. I don't train calves, and I don't train quads because I'm already hitting those muscle groups when I'm training cardio or legs or anything else like that. I also don't train chest because it's already pretty strong. I have a pretty good bench, believe it or not. In bikini, it's not really judged, so nobody's gonna be like, oh yeah, but look at her pecs, That's not really the goal here, so why spend more time training it? Every once in a while you'll see me do like push-ups and stuff, and that's just to keep everything kind of balanced muscle-wise. So my back is pretty strong and my chest is pretty strong too, but it's important to both combine these so that you have good posture. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more about genetics and how it plays into a physique, okay? You heard me mention muscle insertions earlier, and I wanted to go more into detail with that. So a muscle insertion, I'm gonna give you probably the best example because it's the most clear muscle group to show you. For the calf, okay? You'll notice that some people have very, very high calves, and then some people will have very low calf insertions, okay? And that's because that's where the muscle inserts, okay? Some people you'll see it up here, some people you'll see it down here. I would say mine's probably in the mid-range. So they're just right where they need to be. No complaints about my calves at all. I'm just saying that's where they insert, about the midway here. That is something genetically you can't really change. You can't change the insertion of your muscle. Another example, I'll give you an example of a long muscle insertion, and that would be my delt, which is another reason why I can't really grow it that much, is because it's longer. It inserts here, so it's harder for me to get that little bubble. And if it inserted more up here, it'd probably be a little bit easier, okay? And it'll be shaped more like a bubble, which if you see people that are very bubbly, bodybuilders are better to compare to because you can clearly see where the muscle is. But if you see super bubbly, that means their insertions are usually pretty short, which is a good thing. Another short muscle insertion I have would be my hamstring. And that's why I can get it so bubbly, is because it's a short insertion for me. Some people that don't have such a bubbly hamstring, maybe it's because their hamstring inserts farther down there. And I'm just giving you a few examples. Another thing you can't change genetically would be fat distribution and fat loss, where you want to lose fat. You might have heard before you can't spot reduce. It is true. I can't say, oh, I want to lose weight in just my thighs, so I'm going to do a whole bunch of leg presses. That's not how it works. It comes with overall body fat percentage. And some people will have to diet harder to make sure that they're losing weight in that certain area. So it'll come with time, but you can't really control where you lose the weight. You'll see body types that are like, they'll lose weight in their legs first, so they usually have skinnier legs but a heavier upper body. Some people hold it in their stomach, some people hold it in their butt. I think I'm more of like a under butt holder of fat personally. So that's basically the last muscle group that shows through when I diet. And I know some girls in the bikini competitions that they'll have like the muscle insertions showing through, very lean glutes all year, even if they're off season and they have higher body fat. They'll have their glutes coming through but not their abs. So we all lose weight in different places, but for the most part I think mine's a little more even than most, but again, still a little bit in my butt. And another thing we cannot change genetically is obviously our height. And another thing we can't change is, you know, kind of like how our bones are positioned, how wide they are. Maybe for example, I'll show you rib cage. Some people, if they have a wider rib cage, it might be harder for them to get a smaller waist, whereas some people with a smaller rib cage will get a smaller waist just because it's the bone width itself. So I hope this made a little bit more sense to you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I want to know in the comment section below, what is your physique strengths and weaknesses? Until next time, I'll see you guys later.